Good morning, my friends. Wow, we are in the last few days of having the opportunity to look at the summit materials, and I am deeply grateful for everything that's happened throughout this. We talked about this yesterday in the workshop that some of you attended, and it was really profound. I mean, there are people who have been able to redefine themselves, and that is what certain kinds of ways that we look at each other affects us. Now, before I talk a little bit more about that, let me just mention that our spoon bending workshop is postponed until tomorrow. Miche Meisner, our fearless spoon bending leader, had a total perfect storm with internet repair and not being able to have anybody else take care of it. And the internet people decided to reschedule. You know how this goes. The internet people were like, well, we'll be out this time. No, we'll be out this time. And yeah, so it became like a big snafu. So we're going to just postpone it 24 hours. That's all. And I hope you'll still come because that does give you another 24 hours to get yourself a spoon or two. So bright side. All right. So talking about how we can actually see ourselves differently and how we can actually change the trajectory of our lives. It's so big and it's so subtle at the same time, which does tend to, in my experience, be the way that change is. We tend to look for change in sort of a big way. We say, wow, I'll get that when I get that $1,000,000 or I get that house or I get that Maserati or whatever it is that your dream is. We say, that's when I'll know that I've changed. That's when my life will change. And the fact is that what we're doing when we do that, and I am an expert in this because I have done that, when we do that, we are taking ourselves out of our present moment. We're taking ourselves out of our lives. We're taking ourselves out of the place where we can actually make a difference and impact the trajectory of our lives. Because our only point of power is now. I am not the first to say this. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not the first to say this. I didn't make this up, but I had to really walk through this in order to understand it and make it real for me and start to make choices and changes from that place, which are effective changes and effective choices, rather than choices of I don't have a freaking clue and I'll just jump and then I fall, which is different from a leap of faith, interestingly. Very interesting. So let me first start with, do you see yourself as somebody who needs to be completely rehauled? Do you see yourself as sort of a collection of problems that have to be solved? Or do you see yourself as someone who is kind of okay, but with some problems? Or do you see yourself as a person who is full of light and full of amazing talents that you just may not have uncovered, and you have some challenges that you are facing? Okay, so the thing is, if you see yourself, as most of us are sort of enculturated to do, if you see yourself as, well, I'm a good person, and I've got some problems and yada, 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 then you're probably at the starting stage of where we all begin before we find personal growth, spiritual growth, any kind of thing that's going to help us grow as a person. And then you may come along and say, wow, I am being stopped in my tracks by this issue. So I think this issue really is me. And then the thing you try to do is you go into these personal or spiritual growth things and you say, okay, I'm going to fix this. And that's a great aim. Like, let's fix this. The question is, though, are you then at that point more likely to then should on yourself? You idiot, you fool, you whatever. You have this problem. Why can't you fix it easily? Other people seem to. Why are you still in it? Depends on your level of impatience. I work daily with myself on impatience. because I move very quickly, and and I like moving quickly. So I have to struggle with that a lot to say, nope, you need to come back to right now, girl, and see what's happening right now. If we want to take the most powerful mindset we can around who we are, the mindset that really will change the trajectory of our life in the biggest way that I know so far, it is to see ourselves as the best of who we are, with all of these other things more on the outside. It's a shift in perspective, a shift in focus. If I see myself as I am my strongest parts, for me, that is, my strongest parts are my ability to love people, my creativity, my ability to communicate. These are intrinsic to who I am. Like, I cannot not communicate. If I were suddenly struck dumb, I would learn sign language. That kind. I have to. I cannot. That's who I am. My ability to see in a bigger way and incorporate that bigger way into how I go out into the world, so that I try not to be as narrow as I can tend to be. So we all get narrow. We're like, that person did me a wrong, and that person's a moron, and we throw a lot of shade, a lot of anger on that person. And I am not here to say, don't have your feelings. I'm the last person on earth that will ever say, don't have your feelings. That anger, that's cool, man. What we have to do is, I don't know, be able to see things from a little different perspective, in terms of understanding that we've been equally stupid or equally weird. But I'm getting off track. I apologize. So if I see myself as this collection of wonderful things, and then I've got this issue, it just doesn't seem to leave me alone. My perspective change, first of all, is already in place, because I've now made my identity my strengths. Make sense? Let me know if that makes sense. Give me put number 1 in the chat or something. Let me know if that makes sense. And then we have to see, we're seeing that this thing on the outside is not us. It's not so close to us that it's like, it's not like this where we can't see it. Like, it's not up in our face. Like, I can't see my problem. I don't understand. Where is it? Which is what happens for us, right? So we've already taken a step forward in seeing that our real self is the strengths, is those qualities, big word, qualities of who we are. Because that gives us the breathing room between us and the problem, so that we can actually look at it. We can actually not have it up in our face like that. And the next perspective shift that's really critical is to be able, and this takes practice, I'm giving you more of like an overview kind of a deal. But the next thing that's super important is to be able to look at it from a place of curiosity. Now, the first place you're going to go is not curiosity. The first place you're going to go is frustration and anger. And you're going to go there over and over again. Okay, let's not be pretty about this. Let's be real. You're gonna be frustrated. I was clinically depressed, and I had an anxiety disorder for like 30 years. Especially the depression. The anxiety got cured after more than, I guess it was after 20 something years, because I had the right medication. But the depression was intense, and that's 30 years of my life, right? That holds you back, right? So, gosh, what was I saying? So then when I thought the depression was me, when it felt so strong that the depression was me, the tool I didn't have that would have helped a lot was kindness towards myself. Kindness is my number 1 tool for everything. If you can find a way to soften your attitude towards yourself, you're going to let a lot of answers in that were just sitting there going, wow, she's really ticked. I can't get anywhere near her. You're going to let them in. If we have the perspective of, what is this? What is this that's making me crazy? So let me give you a very current example. The summit just ended, right? Or, I mean, for you guys, you get to watch up through Sunday. But for me, the work of doing the summit, I mean, there's only a few little loose ends with the experts that I'm tying up. But it ended. And suddenly this vast amount of energy and focus, especially, that I had put into this wonderful project was done. And I felt like I was in a swimming pool with no sides. And I hate that feeling. I hate it. I have to be free to express who and what I am, but I also need a structure so that I'm not like in the ocean swimming without any idea of, what's the sort of general direction I'm going. So suddenly realizing that even though I'd been looking at and putting together things that I was going to launch next for all of us, I felt adrift. And my reaction, my emotional reaction was a little bit of depression, not like clinical depression, but just a little depression and anxiety. And I was starting to beat up on myself. God, you're such a fool. Why didn't you see this coming? It was just really not pretty. Thank you, Kevin. Oh, thank you, Kevin. That's wonderful. I will quote you. Yeah, and so what I had to do is I really had to let that be. First of all, I had to just be like, oh crap, here I am again, feeling just all this icky stuff that's like so familiar. I don't like it. Ugh. But then, because of what I've learned about really looking at things from a curiosity perspective, from a what will unlock this? What is this speaking to me? What is it about? And not in a therapeutic way, not in a what was the situation with my mother 50 years ago, that not that kind of thing. More a sitting in witness, sitting in sort of like a little kid. Do you remember the movie Miracle on 34th Street? I think it's 430. Is it 42nd Street? Whatever it is. Clearly not from New York. But it's that Christmas movie, and the little girl, she really wants a house. Thank you. I have no idea who that is who's commenting, but thank you, because it doesn't show your name. You have to sort of sign up you have to click on that StreamYard thing, but thank you. Yeah, it is just the beginning. It is just the beginning, and it's really super exciting, and that sort of that feeling that can feel like either fear or excitement. Yeah. But anyway, the little girl in Miracle on 42nd Street, I think. Anyway, she says she's sitting in the car at the end. She's taking a drive with her mother and her mother's boyfriend, and they've told her that she should believe in, I don't know what, 34th. Thank you, Beth. See, I'm not from New York, and my mind isn't operating right now. But she's told that she should believe. She should believe in Santa Claus. And so she's in the car, and she's like this. I do believe. I do believe. I do believe. She's like, she's not happy. She's not denying her emotion of like, yeah, sure. Okay, fine. But she's not actively pushing it out either. She's not going, I'm not going to believe you're lying to me. I don't believe you. She's going, I do believe. I do believe. And then she looks out the window and she sees the house that she has had a picture of forever. And she goes, stop the car. So, and of course, that's the house that they're going to buy and live in and live happily ever after. But that, although that is not a real movie, I mean, a real situation from that movie, it's not like that was not a real, true story. That really is a truth of how if we will just open to seeing things, to allowing ourselves to see things maybe in ways that we don't see them yet. Being able to sit, I mean, I find that a really practical and miraculous skill to practice, is to be able to sit and go, God, okay, all right, show me where it is. All right, show me. Oh, there it is. You know, you may get an aha right away, or you may, or you know, what I'll do, I may have like a little piece fall in. Like I told you, this is not like a therapeutic thing, but the other day I did get something sort of fall in that was like, oh, that piece is about my mom. Okay, who I adored, by the way, but that piece is about my mom. It didn't solve things, and that's the other thing. We have to stop thinking we're going to solve things within a certain period of time. We are enculturated to want the quick, easy answer. And so something that is much more powerful is to set your mind for discovery, because discovery at least has a shot in hell of giving us a moment to say, wow, I'll get a little bit here, maybe I'll get a little bit here, maybe, and maybe, oh, and as I go further, I'm starting to see something. Oh, wow. Okay, that may take a week, that may take an hour, that may take a moment, it may take a year. But the reward is in the moment. The reward is here and now, because you are changing you're changing where you're standing in alignment with your life. You're no longer beating the hell out of your life. You're no longer beating the hell out of yourself. Now you're going, okay, there's a little room here. I have a little room to look. And within here, within that little bit of room, there are possibilities, there's magic, there's what we call miracles. There are things that can then come forth if we're not so busy trying to wrestle life to the ground. We've been taught to wrestle life to the ground. That's what we've been taught. We've been taught to set goals that we then can reverse engineer. And if I just take this step and then this step that's on this piece of paper and this step that's on this piece of paper and this, then I have to get there. And the problem with that, of course, is if you don't get there, then you get to beat the hell out of yourself again. This is not quality of life. You cannot get to where you're going without honoring quality of your life. You can't get there. I've proven it. I've proven it. I went after my dream of being a professional actress as best I knew how to do it. And really, because I was not in my true unfoldment, I was not in my realness of who I am now and who I needed to become in order to reach that goal, I fell short. I learned, thanks, Iris, and you, Beth. And so I fell really short. I had acting experiences, yes, but I didn't get to where I wanted to be. So at least two things, I may end up mentioning three, but first of all, if you can take the view of having quality of life be important before everything else, and that means even if you are dead broke like I was, that the other quality of life that you have to practice is kindness towards yourself. Kindness towards yourself. Because when I was homeless and living with people and absolutely not feeling like my circumstances resonated at all with who I know me to be and who I've known me to be, I was in such shame and such despair. And excuse me, lost my water. And the thing that really started to change the trajectory of my life, because I could have stayed there. I could have stayed in homelessness, right? We can all stay in our really bad situations. That's easy. It's really easy. Yeah. So But what changed it was I had this moment, and I think I've mentioned it before, so forgive me if I'm repeating myself, but it was the moment where I felt the damage, the physical damage and emotional damage that I was doing to myself by beating myself up mentally. And when I went to those spaces, and so let's say this is one of those parts of my body that I, like up here was one, and up here was one, and up here was one. And I went to one of those places, instead of going, stop it, I can't take it anymore, right? Which is that's a natural human thing to do, okay? But our gift as humans is to be able to decide to do something differently, to try something else. Try. Not do the right thing, not do the perfect thing, but try something else. That's our beauty as humans. We have that creative capacity. So, instead of doing that, I went to that pain point like this, and I stood. I stood like this far from it, and I stood there in mercy, without trying to change it. And I just stood there, and it went, and it melted away. Who was surprised? Me. It is a beautiful process, Iris. It's also challenging. If you are not used to doing it, and I don't think any of us are, honestly, and if you're not used to doing it honestly, in other words, if we're not used to defending ourselves against ourselves, then the challenge is to get real with ourselves in a non-destroying way. So, what I would recommend if you want to change the trajectory of your life is you want to look at the quality of life first. Look around yourself and say, what is it that I have? What is it that makes my life doable? Is it my partner? Is it the fact that I have a home? Is it that I have my being? I have who I am, and I trust in that. I love my job, or what is it? It's my dog. My dog keeps me sane. What is it that really keeps you going? What is it that you can feel that appreciation for, that gratitude for? And if you have things in your life that are really impinging on your quality of life, don't fight them. Don't fight with them, not first. There are some things you may need to walk away from or push away from, but that is not the first step, because if that is the first step, you will not see the nature of that thing, and you will not be able to know the most effective ways to walk away or push away from it. So you really want to take a look at it. You want to sit with it in mercy for you. You can even see it as sort of a stranger or an alien or something, whatever it is that will give you that space, so that you can say, oh man, I feel sorry for myself having to deal with this crap. That's compassion. The words may not sound like compassion, but they are. God, I feel sorry for myself dealing with this nonsense. Why should I have to do this? Be careful with why, though, because if you say, why should I have to, that can lead to like pushing it away. I can't take it. And if you get in those moments, and you will, trust me, you will. For me, the way I deal with that, if I need to disengage, if I find myself in sort of an epic battle and I can't stop it, and I can't find the kindness in that moment, I walk away from that engagement. Take a walk, watch TV, read a book, come talk to you guys, which is not what brought me here today. But, find something else to do until you feel like you are in a less, a less fight or flight state, and you can come back to it. Let it be a process. Let it be a process. And in a group like this, and in the group that I'm going to start for a coaching program for a much longer period of time, and I'll let you know about that once I get it all together. Once you do that, and once you're with other people who are doing the same thing, then you can remind each other. We can remind each other of the beauty and the efficacy of that, because we're not used to it. We're not used to it. Look at any commercial. You know, it's all about satisfy this need now, right now. You know, and doing that is insane. It's as if I gave you the improv workshop and I said, because of this workshop, your life will now be completely different. Well, you know, maybe there's somebody out there who that was sort of the last piece of one particular puzzle, but changing our lives is a process. And at the same time as it's a process, when we take that one step at a time based on who we are and that quality of life and the kindness approach, when we take all of that, our rewards are today. Every reward is today. Oh my God, what a difference that makes. What an incredible difference. Then, if we acknowledge even the smallest moment of mercy, even the smallest moment of, okay, I'm thinking differently. I thought differently today once. Even just acknowledging that one time, that's what you are building on now. As long as you don't go back to, nope, I just have to make things work the way that I want them to work. My wake-up call was I got to 50 something and I'd been trying I'm going to make it work the way I want it to work. And I'm like, is it time, Lori? How much more of your precious lifetime are you going to give to this approach that doesn't work? I mean, I persevere with stuff. I persevere like a mofo. I really do. But I've had to learn to temper that perseverance with the ability to be flexible. And that comes from seeing everything more as a journey and an unfolding and a discovery process, rather than this, I will be okay when I'm here. And until then, I, literally myself, capital S, is not okay till I get there. Yes, you are okay. Your real, true being is so much more than just okay. It's so, I mean, I see, when I talk to people, that's what I see. I see that shining sort of center of people. And then I also see what they're holding and how they're holding it, you know, whether it's anger or control or fear, I can see that stuff. If you can learn to see that in yourself, to see your magnificence, or if you can't see magnificence because it's just too big a word, what is it that is true about you? Do you love? Are you somebody who loves someone? Even just one person? Are you someone who feels for the world? Are you an animal lover? Are you someone who's passionate about something? Passionate about science, passionate about music? What are you passionate about? Can you start to notice that when you're feeling passionate about something, that you're in a different kind of energy? You're in a flow. When I draw, which I actually haven't done for a while, but when I draw, I'm an artist and I can share my artwork with you because I love it. I have absolutely no doubt about the fantasticness of my artwork. I'm so passionate about it. I'm just absolutely like, oh my God, I'm an amazing artist. Now, nobody else has to agree with me either. So that's a part of my center. Like my creativity, that's a magnificence of me. Apart from whether it has anybody's approval. What is magnificent? What is good? What is bright about you? Because when we focus on what is right with us, and we bring that more, we've got the darkness here, right? Oh, I'm depressed. Oh, I'm not making any money. Oh, I'm homeless. Oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm that. And I'm not trying to say that those are small things. No, they're not. But if all we focus on is this, what are we going to get? We're going to get more of that. And what's going to happen to our quality of life? Yeah, you know, it's just going to it's not good. Now, if we start seeing this core stuff down here, all of these wonderful things. I have a great sense of humor. Whatever it is, like I know how to build a car from the ground up. I don't know, so, because I am so I have such an analytical being. I have an analytical mind. What are the things about you that are strong? And we start focusing on that. This starts coming up through this, so that this starts to take a back seat. And it's not that you never feel this. And sometimes it'll come blasting through with something new and it's in the front seat again. And you're like, oh, geez, here we go again. And that's when you bring the kindness in. Okay. Do you understand that sort of process? So it comes barreling forward. I'm going to make you miserable. And you go, yeah, you are. But as you practice this, as you practice looking at things from a different perspective and breathing into it and trying it out, seeing what works for you. What does it mean to be kind to yourself? You are the only person who's going to be able to answer for yourself what it means to be kind to you. So, and that's actually exciting. That's exciting because that means you're taking your power back, your power to define your own life. And that's what we've lost. We've lost our power to define our own lives. And if we don't define our own lives, if we're not capable of it, if we're not trained in taking back that ability in the ways that are unique to each of us, we look to experts to give us the answer. And again, been there, done that. Spent so much money on workshops. If I had that money back right now, holy mother. So I think this is extraordinary stuff that I never expected to know or learn. And I think it is doable. I know it is doable. It is a moment by moment kindness to you. And I'm going to tell you something. Whether or not you know this, you deserve it. You deserve it. When Bernie Sewell was on the summit, she talked about you are worth. That is the concept that I encourage you to sort of noodle around with in your brain, in your heart, and your being. You too were a tiny, tiny 1-day-old infant, newborn. You were. And when you were that, you came in with all of this goodness and all of this light and all of this curiosity and all of this magnificence. And that is still who you are. You just got trained out of it. And that's okay, because you're going to use every bit of that as grist for the mill of your growth and your self-love and your ability to give back to the world more and more and more. And you're going to find out that nothing has been wasted, nothing. It's true. Swear to God. I love you guys. I really do. And I really thank you for, I can feel the energy and it's good. It's good. We are postponing the spoon bending today until tomorrow, and we will make use of that time also, that time between now and tomorrow, to make sure our spoons are not bendable easily. I wish you a beautiful day, and I also have a favor to ask of you. My favor is, please invite anybody that you know that you feel would resonate with this, with what we do here, with who we are here. Please invite them to the group, because we are going to be changing the, anybody can come in now. It's not going to be just summit people, obviously, with the summit being over. So we are not ending, we are transforming. It's a crazy process, right? But we are transforming, and we're doing it together. So invite your friends that you think really would like this. Okay. And have yourself a beautiful Thursday. I'm going to see you tomorrow morning when I pop on live to say good morning. And then I'm going to see you at 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for the Spoonbending. Love you. Bye.